coming in, and yeah, looks like everyone's able to hear and see us. Well, obviously, the U.S. is back open to international travelers. That's exciting. The big birds are flying out of Australia again, with all kinds of airlines resuming their flight schedules into LA, and then obviously for us onto Vegas and or Reno. And we know that our industry's time out of Australia is, very exciting, and bookings are starting to happen. New Zealand's not far behind. We're getting there, as well as our friends in Queensland and certain states in Australia, where we're starting to see some loosening of restrictions, some pressure on governments to resume international, and it won't be too long till we're in 2022. Obviously, Vegas and the state of Nevada are a huge market. Australia and New Zealand is a huge market for us, and we want to make sure, in addition to Vegas, through our series, that you're up to speed on all of our self-driving routes and vacations on the other side of this. So that's what the series is designed for. This is webinar number 4 of 5. You can catch Tracy and Yennefer online, because all of our webinars are recorded. So if you've missed some, don't worry, you can catch up on those. But there's this one, and then one final one, and then in December we're going to host a final trivia event. It's going to be more of a game show type program. So stay tuned for that, and make sure you're registered for all 5. But that's me. You're here to hear from our experts who are live on location from Carson City. Before I turn it over officially to Tracy and Yennefer, I do want to just ask each of you some questions about your experiences in Nevada. So if you can go ahead and answer these right on the screen by clicking the button, that would be awesome. So have you been to Las Vegas? This is you personally, and that's yes or no. And then we have 10 separate Travel Nevada road trips, and they're all listed in question 2. Many of them we've talked about so far, and we're going to review 2 of them today. But have you driven any of these iconic Nevada road trips? And you need to select all that applies. So it's a multi-choice question. You can click as many boxes as you've driven yourself. And then question number 3 is, have you sold any of these iconic Nevada road trips to your clients? And again, the same 10. And question 4 is, are you planning on attending all 5 road trip webinars and final trivia event hosted by Travel Nevada? Yes or no? So again, go ahead and answer all those on this screen. It's great to see people from Wellington and Melbourne and Hamilton and Whangarei and the Winterless North. Welcome on the call today. So we're just going to give you a couple more secs. In follow-up to this as well, of course, we will send a follow-up email tomorrow with a recording from today and the announcement of our prize winner. Now, to win the prize, you have to complete these questions at the beginning, but then also we have some skill testing questions today in the middle of the presentation after we review the Lake Tahoe loop, and at the end as well on the Burner Byway. So you have to complete all those questions to be in to win one of those Travel Nevada spot prizes. So just so everyone's aware, that's how that works. But without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues Yennefer Diaz and Tracy Barnhouse in Nevada.
Thanks, Corey. We appreciate the series, and we are so excited that we're getting to educate our friends.
We're back at it, Yennefer.
Yes, yeah, we are. We sure are. And we love hearing all the positive news of flights coming back. So that just shows that tourism and the travel world is going to slowly start to pick up, slowly but surely. But as Corey mentioned, my name is Yennefer Diaz. I am the marketing manager here based in Carson City. Corey and I work together on the trade side, and Tracy is my counterpart here also in Carson City.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm sorry, I just got something in my eye, so I'm a little blinky for a second. Yeah, I'm Tracy Barnhouse. I handle all the public relations for international media. So I'm really excited to share these 2 road trips. It looked like from the survey, there were a few of you who have taken the Lake Tahoe loop. So hopefully Yennefer and I do it justice and explain all the wonderful things that you can see and do along there. So happy to be here today, and hope everyone is doing well.
Okay. Now let's get started with the presentation.
Start together, everybody.
Start together.
Tahoe.
Woo! Tahoe. think it's way cool.
And yes, we think Tahoe is way cool too.
We do.
Not, there's no bias, even though we live like 40 minutes away from the lake. And that is our email address. So if you are wanting to reach out to us, please do so. That's our information. And if you are not been part of all of our webinars that we've done so far, just so you are aware, overall Nevada has 10 different road trips that you can explore within the state of Nevada. We're centrally located in the West Coast, so our neighboring states are Oregon, Idaho, Utah, Arizona, and California. So we like to say that we're in the center of the West. We're the center of the West. And then within the state, there are 10 road trips, like I mentioned, and each of them we give it its own niche storytelling, compelling itinerary that you can do for the sakes of creating a story when you're here, and also connecting you through some of our West Coast neighboring states. That way you can pair it nicely when doing your road trip itineraries here.
Yeah, and before we move on to the next slide,
Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to give a frame of reference. So the two road trips that we're talking about today are the Lake Tahoe loop, which is up in the, I'm sure you can't see my mouse, but up in the, you see the big words that say Carson City, that's the Lake Tahoe loop. And then the Burner Byway is the graphic that looks like the guy with the red hair. So that's where we're talking about today, just to give geographic information from Las Vegas, which is down in southern Nevada, up to Lake Tahoe, up to Reno, Tahoe area is about 7.5, 8-hour drive. Or you could fly into Sacramento and drive over. It's about a 4-hour drive from San Francisco. So those are two different ways that you could get on the road for these road trips.
Yes, great point. Good point, Tracy.
All right.
And then with that, like Tracy mentioned, there's Las Vegas, and it's great, and we all love Vegas. But then there's the rest of Nevada, and you can explore. If you want to mention a little more on that, Tracy.
Yeah, if this is the first time you've joined one of these webinars, Nevada, I think it's the perfect way that is on the screen is it's a state of contrast. You know, we have the beautiful big cities of Las Vegas, all the amenities, all the restaurants and attractions that you could ever want or need there, of course. But then beyond the Las Vegas area and beyond Reno, which is our other big city, are, beautiful landscapes and lots of amazing things to see and do. A great outdoor recreation. Like I said, a lot of people think Nevada is very much desert, but we're high desert. So that means we have everything from the desert with the Joshua trees and the beautiful landscape there up to mountains with snow. So we really do have a little bit of everything that you might be looking for when you're, looking for somewhere to visit.
And as you start your Lake Tahoe loop, this is the portion of the map that Tracy was referring to earlier, on the north side of Nevada. It's what I like to call the Lake Tahoe loop. It's like you're getting to get to know the real Wild Wild West of Nevada, because it's a lot of our heritage, a lot of our first pioneers that came to the state. You'll get to know more of that as you're exploring the itinerary. But of course, if you're gonna be coming to the north, Lake Tahoe is a must. It's the largest alpine lake in North America. It's what we like to say the jewel of the Sierra Nevada. And the moment you see it, you realize, wow, this is a beautiful lake. It's clear blue. The photo that you're seeing here in the presentation, that it's not a Photoshop photo. That's how clean and clear the water is. It's all snow-capped water. When snow falls, it melts, and then we get the lake. So it's a destination for all year-round, summer, fall, spring, winter. There's not a wrong time to visit Lake Tahoe. There's not a wrong season. You're always going to have a great time when you're out at the lake. And then just so you have an idea of how much snow we can get. This is some snowshoeing, a picture of snowshoeing in Chickadee Ridge, which is one of the local areas that most of us go hike at in the winter. And there's some little chickadee birds that you can feed off like from your hand when you're hiking there or snowshoeing there, and it's really fun. The in-depth itinerary of that is on our website, so I definitely recommend that as a must-up when if you're traveling here in the wintertime.
Yeah, and then I know there are probably a lot of tour operators on the call, so I just wanted to mention too that there are a lot of tours that you can book and do in Lake Tahoe. It's been very well developed. So there are, lake cruises that you can do, dinner cruises. Of course, there's a lot of hotel accommodations that you can check out from, more budget friendly to the luxury scale too. So there's really something for everyone. But after you leave Lake Tahoe, if you can leave Lake Tahoe, it's kind of hard to do because it's just so beautiful, as Jennifer said. You can head into the Carson Valley area, which is just over the hill from Lake Tahoe. It's made up of a couple of different towns, the towns of Genoa, Minden, and Gardnerville. And like Jennifer mentioned, Northern Nevada was really where, like she said, the pioneers made their way west. They made their way to California in search of gold. And so a lot of the history of Nevada is found in these areas, especially Genoa. It has Nevada's oldest thirst parlor, which you can see in this picture here. It's where, they used to stop and have a good time in the saloon and get something to drink and eat along the way. There's a lot of great things to see and do. And like I said, these towns fall in kind of the shadow of the mountains. So they're beautiful. They're picturesque, little charming communities that are really known for their wildlife. There's a lot of wild horses that call this area home. There's a wildlife photography tour that you can take with a local photographer. It's also known for just a lot of great there's some pictures right there. Some great agriculture. There's also a state distillery in this area that you can check out as well. There's also this picture that you see of our colleague Sydney. There's a activity called Soaring Envy, which it takes you up above the Lake Tahoe, which you can kind of see in the background of that photo. You're attached to a plane in the front and you glide. So it's a gliding kind of plane. So you just kind of glide your way through the area. It's really windy up here too. So it's like kind of it's a smooth glide around and just really picturesque and a lot of fun.
Oh, and a fun fact I forgot to mention, because I'm not sure how many people know about Lake Tahoe's. We share it with California. So the way you know that you're in the California side is when you stop seeing the casinos. So if there's no more casino that you're seeing, then you're in the California area. And once you cross over to a casino, you're in the Nevada area. So that's how you'll know that you've, otherwise when you're up at the lake, you can't tell which side is California. Everything looks kind of all the same. But the
best side is the Nevada side. I mean, obviously, it's just the best.
Yeah. And the south side, so there's the north side and the south side. The south side is the one that has more of the party and casino atmosphere.
Yeah, that's a really good thing to know. Yeah, because there's North Lake Tahoe, which is a little more, quiet, family focused, a little more rustic. But then, like Jennifer said, the more, nightlife and activities and late into the evening is South Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, so in case you ever wonder, I know I see my inventory, north side, south side, that's the big difference between the two. Otherwise, everything else is still the same, pretty and beautiful. And after you've explored the Carson Valley area, which is area, once you go down the hill from the mountain, you're also gonna come up and enter Carson City, the capital of Nevada. And when you come into the capital of Nevada, the Carson City, you'll get to see more of what we were talking about, the history of Nevada. You can take a tour, their Capitol ground tour of all the legislative buildings, our Capitol building, our Nevada State Museum, our historic houses that are here which is the Kit Carson Trail here in Carson City. We also, our downtown area is really beautiful. It's so charming and lots of antique shopping, breweries. And then you can also do some hot spring activities here in Carson City. This is a picture of a beautiful hike to one of the waterfall trails. So our capital, Nevada, Carson City, it's all full of nature, wildlife, like Tracy was mentioning. So it's a beautiful add-on of your outdoor itinerary, if that's what you're looking to do. And
you could also visit us. We're here in Carson City. So
yeah, I was going to say that.
Come say hi to us.
Our building. Hopefully we're back to being open to the public soon. I miss it. I miss when I got to see all of our visitors come and ask for tips and insights. I love doing that when we're open to the public, and I want to go back to that.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Moving on from Carson City, we go to the town of Virginia City. So Virginia City kind of made its mark for its, silver discovery. So there was a big boom that happened in the 1859, it says on there, which the silver and the fortune that was found in Virginia City helped to fund the town of San Francisco. So that is, it was huge. It was huge for this region. And today you can still go to Virginia City and see what things were like back then. It's not, I recently did an interview with a guy, with a local TV station here, and it's, what you see in Virginia City isn't just, storefronts, facades. It's not just Disneyland. It is exactly, they live like that's how they live. The wooden boardwalk is what they have. It's not there for show. It's really the way of life that the people who live there, live by. So Virginia City has a lot of great things to see and do. You can do mine tours. You can go deep into, a mine and see what it was like to mine for gold and silver back then. There's my family's favorite, which is the old time photo kind of where you dress up as, back in old fashioned photos, do that. They also have a lot of paranormal activity in Virginia City. So you can take a haunted ghost tour. We just finished Halloween, but those are year round around this area. You can, seek out paranormal activity any time of year up in Virginia City, and there are people who lead tours and point out different things along the way that you might not consider to be paranormal, but it actually is. So that's kind of fun as well. There's also Virginia City is known for its kind of weird and wacky events. They have an international camel and ostrich race every year. They have a Rocky Mountain Oyster Festival every year. Earlier in October, they had the outhouse races, which the funny story there is that a few decades ago, the city outlawed indoor plumbing. And so to protest that, the people who lived in Virginia City all took to their streets with their outhouses, with their toilets, and had a big protest. And so today that's turned into an outhouse race where people decorate outhouses and race them down the street to a toilet paper finish line. So it's a lot of fun. They've really leaned hard into the kind of weird and wacky events. So if you're coming to Nevada, you're coming to Virginia City, make sure you check that event calendar to see what might be happening on any given day.
There's always an event happening up there.
It's so fun. I love it. Then here's a couple. Hort, go back. Wait. Yes, this is still me, right, Jennifer? Yep. Okay. So from Virginia City, you will head to the town of Reno. So Reno is our second largest town behind Las Vegas. Reno has really worked to diversify its economy over the past, handful plus years. It used to be very reliant and dependent on the casinos. And while there are definitely still those, activities and amenities in downtown Reno, there's also a lot of tech influence. So a lot of companies from Silicon Valley have come over into the Reno area to, there's lots of startups. And with that has come a kind of a different demographic. So now we have a lot of boutique restaurants. We have lots of fun, smaller kind of quirky fun shops, which we'll get into with the Burner Byway because those kind of go hand in hand. So on the next road trip. But Reno has, anything you could ever want or need. This picture, I'm not sure if you can see it, kind of in the upper corner is there's an outdoor rock climbing wall. It's the largest artificial outdoor rock climbing wall in the world. It's like it holds a Guinness Book of World Records. The Truckee River, that kind of something unique about Reno is that the Truckee River runs down the middle of downtown. So there are a lot of cities in the United States who are very jealous of that it just runs right down the middle. And as you can see, people float the river. That's a really big activity in the summer. You can grab the river up in Tahoe and float it all the way down to Reno. It's really leaned into its arts culture. So there's a mural walk that you can take and check out all the different art that takes place. And also kind of like Virginia City, Reno is also leaned into events. The whole summer, there are events. There's the championship air races, which is planes and air races. We also have Hot August Nights, which is a vintage car festival. There is the river river festival. So people do whitewater rafting on the river. What else is there? The Great Balloon Race, which brings up, I think, 100 plus hot air balloons that fly over the weekend. There's a lot of great, yeah, that's a motorcycle festival. So there's a lot of things to do in Reno as far as events go as well in the summer. So definitely worth a visit.
And as Tracy mentioned, Reno is kind of like connected a lot with Burner Byway. So the other great event that happens for Reno is Burner Byway. So we'll explore into that. But first, we'll go into a quick little round of question and answer, Q&A.
Yeah, so we'll pull those questions up right on the screen. Thanks, guys. Lots of great memories for me. I actually was fortunate in Virginia, to survive the Washoe Club Ghost Tour, which is one of the scariest ghost tours in the world, I was told, and made it through. So definitely worth checking that out. I'll pop that in the chat box for those that are interested in what that's all about as well. And also just about back memories of that. So that rock climbing wall is actually a part of Whitney Peak Hotel for the agents on the call, and that is one of a non-gaming hotel in Reno, and it's a great place for Aussies and Kiwis to stay that are interested in outdoor adventures for sure. Because that will.
So Whitney Peak was our first non-gaming hotel, but now we have a few other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. But the questions are on the screen. I'll ask the first one, and you guys can go ahead and type these right on, answer them right on the screen, and then scroll down. There's 3 of them. So this famous lake is known as the Jewel of the Sierra Nevada. Is it Pyramid Lake, Lake Tahoe, or Washoe Lake? And these are the Lake Tahoe questions. Question 2.
What towns make up Carson Valley? Genoa, Minden, and Gardnerville, Genoa, Minden, and Carson City, Genoa, Virginia City, and Reno. That's also a tricky one, Jennifer. Good question.
Make sure you're answering them not in the chat box, but right on the screen. Right on the screen.
And then what is the name of the river that runs through downtown Reno?
Awesome.
And I see we have a quick question. Do you want me to answer that really quickly about the weather, what it's like?
Well. Yeah, for sure.
So Lake Tahoe is pretty pleasant year round. You know, in the winter, of course, it's snow, and we're focused on skiing and snowboarding, those sort of winter activities. But it doesn't ever get as hot as Las Vegas. I would say the highest it doesn't get. It's very pleasant. You know, I think there's about a 10-degree difference between Reno and Lake Tahoe on any given day. So it could be hot in Reno, but a lot of us who live here escape to Lake Tahoe to kind of get away from the heat. So it's a pleasant year-round kind of place to visit.
Awesome.
Definitely not as hot as Vegas.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you for taking us around the Lake Tahoe Loop, guys. We'll turn it back over to you to now allow us to venture to the Burner Byway, and obviously named after a very famous festival, I believe, but I'm sure you'll talk all about that. So yes. Back over to you.
So Burning Man is a very famous, popular festival. I know this year there wasn't not an official Burning Man festival, but if you're a burner, you went to the Burning Man festival this year. It wasn't extravagant like it normally is, but from what I hear, there was some good art installations that happened. There was a good vibe. So if you know anyone that made it out there, I'm sure they had a good time. But because of Reno being the closest, biggest city to the playa where Burning Man happens, they pair nicely together as part of your itinerary. We like to tell our visitors the Burner Byway, which is the journey, the route that the burners take to go to the playa. It's not just to go for Burning Man Festival. You can do that any time of the year, and it has such a great outdoor experience that with a scenic that it's way different than literally what you just saw like an hour ago from Reno, Tahoe area. So again, it pairs very nicely. And what we like to recommend, Tracy mentioned there's the Truckee River that runs from Lake Tahoe down to Reno, and then the river continues and goes on to Pyramid Lake. So it all kind of connects with each other underneath. It's crazy. Nature is crazy. It's beautiful at the same time. And so that's one of the the other lake that you can go see when you're coming to another area of Nevada. It's Pyramid Lake. Is I've done the drive out there, and you literally, when you're going out there, it's all desert. You go back to like desert, you think you're like in Dubai, like all dry, and then next thing you know, you see this lake in the middle of the desert. You would not have imagined seeing this lake. It's beautiful. There's like a pyramid kind of in the middle of it. Would you say, Tracy? It's not really the middle, but in the middle, like the center of it, which is what you're seeing right now. And great for camping, great for fishing. The state fish that you can catch when you take a tour. It's a native land, so you do need to pay a pass to get into to have access to it. You'll have to pay an entry fee, and you can also go explore the center, the Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe Museum and Visitor Center in there, and they'll take you on a fishing tours. They offer fishing tours, and the Laha'an cutthroat trout. It's a tongue twister for me. It's the native state fish that you can catch when you're out in Pyramid Lake. I do recommend you bring an umbrella because there's not a lot of shade. Because like I said, you're like desert, and then there's a lake, and literally there's no trees for you to get some shade. So I recommend you bring an umbrella with you.
You know, it's funny, so we have a journalist, a U.S. based journalist who took one of those fishing tours this morning actually, and he sent us a picture. He caught I just Googled the conversion rate. He caught a 5 kilo Laha'an cutthroat trout this morning. Yeah, wow. So 12 pounds. That's for Jennifer. 12 pounds. It's pretty big, right? Yeah. So you can, if you are into fishing, that's a great place to do it. And the guides who take you out there are really amazing and cool too. And something else too I wanted to mention about Pyramid is the stargazing out there is really great. Remember in 2020 we had what was it, the meteor that everybody was going to view? You could go.
Oh, yeah.
We went out there and you could see it really, really well because there's not a lot of light pollution in that area too. So it was really a great place to view that meteor. It was a meteor, right? I have to remember.
I'm pretty sure
I should remember. Yeah. So if you're into, dark sky viewing, this road trip in general is really great for that as well. But moving along from Pyramid Lake, we go to the town of Gerlach. So Gerlach is where, if you're going to Burning Man, if you're going, to explore this area, that's kind of the last place you're going to have to stop and get supplies, to get water, to get food, to get gas before you go on to the Black Rock Desert, which, as you can see here, it's huge. It's 1.2 million acres of land, which is gigantic. You can drive on it. Over the pandemic, when we were locked down, my family and I went out there. My kids are 8 and 12. We let them drive on the Black Rock Desert. It's really a lot of fun. You feel like you can see just forever. You see nothing forever, just flat land. It's really, really, really amazing. But so another thing that you can do in Gerlach is the starting off point to this to the Fly Geyser. So Fly Geyser is a geothermal. I think Corey hopefully will put a link into it. It's so hard to explain. This is multi-colorful. There's a picture. Jennifer, check that out. You were so good. Okay, so this is the Fly Geyser. As you can see, it's multiple colors. It's always erupting. And the Friends of Black Rock, they are this nonprofit organization that really works to conserve the land of the Black Rock Desert. There's a lot of, as you can see, geothermal type things like Fly Geyser. There's a lot of hot springs, which what this lady here is soaking in. There's actually a company here. Her mask is it's called Black Rock Mud. They create mud masks with the playa dust and dirt to enjoy the benefits of the Black Rock on your body. So there's a lot of, but the Friends of Black Rock, they lead a tour to Fly Geyser every spring. I think it's just shut down in October. It should be back up in April, that you can go and explore this area. It's on private land. So we really recommend that anyone who goes out on this road trip takes that tour, because you're not going to see anything like this anywhere else in the world. It is stunning.
Yes. And again, it's all about connecting with nature, being one within the desert, which is following the principles of Burning Man. So being one with nature, what you bring in, you take back with you, and leaving the land as is, preserved preserve it for more, for more visitors and enjoyers to come. The playa, this is a beautiful picture of, kind of gives you a concept of how big the 1.2 million acres of land is of the playa. About 70,000 people. The festival hosts about 70,000 people. It's the largest city or I'm sorry. I know there's like a little slogan we say like for it, right, Tracy?
Yes. I think when Burning Man is happening, which it happens the beginning of September, when it happens, it is the second, well, actually, hold on, I have it right here. The world's largest temporary city.
There you go. That's what it is. The world's largest temporary city that gets built from the ground up and then taken down back to the ground, all within the time span of the festival. It's during, so the festival takes place the week prior to Labor Day weekend, which is end of August, and the week of Labor Day weekend, which is beginning of September. So it's about 2 weeks that all of the festival activities are happening. So there is Burning Man Festival at the playa, and then there's Burning Man Festival in Reno, because after parties, and the partying still continues after they get done with burning the man.
And I think I think that's a misperception too, that everything that is at the festival at the end is burnt. So that's not necessarily true. So if you're not in Nevada during Burning Man, if you're not here in September, that's why Reno is so important, because there have been art installations that have been picked up off the desert and brought into Reno. And actually there's a lot of places around Nevada that you can find Burning Man art that people have not burned. So I think we have a list of that on our website, which is travelnevada.com, but I'd have to verify that. But yeah, that's really the kind of the beauty of Reno, is that you can explore, what you don't have to necessarily go to the festival to get a feel for what Burning Man is all about. You can see a lot of the art there as well.
Yes, you can definitely. I know in downtown they have a lot of pieces that have been donated to be part of the city of downtown, and the Sands property, which I'm not sure how you would find them on the GDS system, because it's a small property in town. In Reno, I believe they are connected, like through Expedia, hotel beds, on a big platform. But it's the Sands. They're getting newly remodeled, and a lot of the concept that they're putting together is going to involve burning. The art is a lot of art installations from Burning Man. So they're going to have another park, Burning Man Park Playa, out there. So that's going to be fun to see when it's all completed. But this picture here, I love it. It shows you the stargazing that you can do when the festival is not happening. Again, it's beautiful. Oh, and just because you're out in the desert and you could be traveling the burner byway in the summertime when, on a normal day. If you're going to do stargazing, I definitely recommend you bundle up, because it gets cold. It does get cold. So yeah. That would be a big tip as well. And with that,
awesome.
That's our Lake Tahoe Loop Burning Man Byway connection of Northern Nevada. I know we have other second round of questions that we want to go.
We do. Just before that, if anyone has questions for Jennifer or Tracy, we'll get to our questions and maybe ask them at the same time. I see there's one already, but go ahead and type them into the box. Obviously,
so there's no accommodations in the Black Rock Desert. The desert itself, Gerlach has a few accommodations, but when you are in the desert, it's, especially for Burning Man Festival itself, you're on your own. You need to camp out there, rent an RV, or bring some sleeping bags with you.
Yeah, I mean, RV rentals are a great way to go for the exploration of the playa and that part of the world, and very common from this Australia and New Zealand. Outside of accommodations, obviously in Reno and to hub and spoke from.
Yes.
Cool. So guys on the call, we're going to ask the Burner Byway trivia questions now. And you can go ahead and answer these again right on this screen. So the first question is, what is the name of Nevada's state fish? Is it the salmon, the cutthroat trout or the bass?
Right, number 2, how big is the Burning Man playa? 1.4 million acres, 1.6 million acres, or 1.2 million acres?
And number 3, when does Burning Man take place? The weekend of Labor Day weekend, the week prior to Labor Day, and during Labor Day weekend, or the week of Labor Day weekend?
Cool. So go ahead and answer those right on the screen. What's really unique, obviously, about all these Nevada road trips, as you can see on the map that's behind me, and obviously the one that they shared at the beginning and as they went through the intro slide, is that they all can be connected. And so one of the first links that we'll include tomorrow is the link to the road trips part of the Travel Nevada website that Tracy mentioned. That is your tool to see exactly how you can connect all of these different road trips, whether you're starting in Vegas and finishing in Reno, starting in Reno and finishing in Vegas, or just doing a Northern Nevada Lake Tahoe exploration, or anything from Southern Nevada as well. So it's a great tool for you guys as you build itineraries. Cool. If there's any other questions for Tracy and Jennifer, go ahead and type those in the box, and we're just going to make sure everyone's got a good chance to answer the questions on the screen. Nothing coming through. That's all good. So that ultimately will conclude our 4th Travel Nevada webinar. We have one more to go with 2 more road trips, and that's coming up on November the 30th, where Tracy and Jennifer are going to take us through 2 really unique routes and very, Nevada ranch oriented, but they are the Ruby's route and the Cowboy Corridor. Because who knew that Nevada is one of the most mountainous states, if not the most mountainous state, in all of the USA, even though we've talked about the desert and the playa today. So stay tuned for those 2. And if you haven't yet registered, please do so. November 30th is the date, same time, our time. Additionally, tomorrow, as a reminder, we will send out a link to this recording and those that were previous to this as well, in case you missed them, where you can share that with colleagues or refer back to them. But yeah, on behalf of us down here, we're seeing some comments already about how informative they are and updates from Jennifer. So thanks so much for joining us today, everyone, and Jennifer and Tracy for spending part of your day with us.
Thanks for spending your morning with us.
Yeah. Wouldn't miss it. So we got one more, and then the big final game show. So I'm sure a lot of these agents will be competitive as well in that coming up in December. But it looks like lots of great comments. Thanks everyone for today. We will conclude today's webinar with a bit of a feel of what the Burner Byway is truly all about. We'll conclude with one final video and catch you all next time. So see you guys.
The beauty, the sound of untouched vastness. Exploration at its most basic. Sometimes we have to get down and dirty to unlock the sacred secrets. Then, look up at an unexplored world out there, shining bright in the night sky. Your own adventure awaits. Brought to you by Travel Nevada. Experience even more journeys with Expedition Unknown. All new Wednesday at 9 on Discovery.